The Johnstown Flood, known locally as the Great Flood of 1889, was one of the largest losses of civilian life in American history. Johnstown itself was a village founded in 1800, located at the intersection of the Stony Creek and Little Conemaugh rivers. It began to grow with the building of the Pennsylvania Main Line Canal in 1836 and the construction of the Pennsylvania Railroad and Cambria Iron Works in the 1850s, reaching a total of about 30,000 people in 1889. The rugged terrain of the Allegheny Mountains creates high, steep hills and deep river gorges in this area. Between 1836 and 1853, the state government built the South Fork Dam on the Little Conemaugh River in the mountains above Johnstown as part of a statewide canal system. However, as railroads began to render canals obsolete, the state government sold the canal to the Pennsylvania Railroad, which included the dam and the reservoir that was created behind it, Lake Conemaugh. The railroad later sold the dam and lake to private entities. A number of businessmen and speculators looked to convert the abandoned reservoir into a private resort lake and camp for their wealthy associates. As part of this, the dam was lowered in order to create a road across the top of it. The developers also put a fish screen in the overflow channel and removed a set of relief pipes and valves, so they had no means to lower the water level in the lake in case of an emergency. Cottages and a clubhouse were also built in order to form the South Fork Hunting and Fishing Club, whose 50-plus members were composed of Pittsburgh railroad and steel industrialists. Lake Conemaugh was located 450 vertical feet above Johnstown. The lake was approximately 2 miles long, 1 mile wide, and 60 feet deep. The dam creating it was 72 feet high and 931 feet long. After the South Fork Club made changes to it around 1881, it often leaked. These leaks were repaired with mud and straw. The citizens of Johnstown worried about the security of the dam, and the head of the Cambria Iron Works in Johnstown had raised concerns about it. On May 30th, 1889, the heaviest rain event to ever occur in western Pennsylvania struck. Approximately 6 to 10 inches of rain fell over a 24-hour period. In the early morning of May 31st, the Conemaugh River in Johnstown was close to overflowing its banks. Around daybreak on May 31st, the president of the South Fork Hunting and Fishing Club, Elias Unger, awoke to find Lake Conemaugh so swollen from the previous night's rainfall that the water was nearly cresting the dam. He quickly assembled some men from the club to try to reinforce the dam and mitigate the floodwaters. An attempt to clear the overflow channel was unsuccessful because it was blocked by the broken fish trap and debris. The men tried to cut an emergency channel on one side of the dam in order to draw water out from behind it, but this was unsuccessful. Instead, they resorted to moving soil onto the top of the dam in order to raise it and slow erosion of the dam face by piling rocks and mud on it. Unger tried to telegraph authorities in Johnstown in order to warn them of the dam's critical state, but these warnings were not passed along because there had been many prior false alarms about the South Fork Dam failing. Unger and the rest of his men worked until they were exhausted to try to save the face of the dam, but around 1:30 p.m., they realized that their efforts were in vain, and they retreated to higher ground. Between 2:50 p.m. and 2:55 p.m., the dam was breached. Modern-day analysis reveals that the Conemaugh Lake Basin contained 3.84 billion gallons of water at the moment that the dam collapsed. The first town to be struck by the flood was South Fork, where 20 to 30 houses were destroyed. The water picked up debris as it continued downstream to Johnstown. It was momentarily stopped when the debris jammed against a railroad bridge, the Conemaugh Viaduct, but after the bridge collapsed in a few minutes, the flow continued with even more power and abruptness. The small town of Mineral Point, located a mile below the Conemaugh Viaduct, was completely obliterated, with all the buildings destroyed and the soil being stripped down to bedrock. Near Johnstown, the floodwaters struck the Cambria Iron Works, where railroad cars and miles of barbed wire became tangled up in the debris. About 57 minutes after the South Fork Dam collapsed, the floodwaters hit Johnstown. The flow was traveling at 40 miles per hour, with a height of up to 60 feet in some places. Many people were crushed by the debris or caught in it and drowned. The floodwaters were stopped by a railroad bridge within Johnstown, and the debris backed up behind the bridge caught fire, burning for 3 days. It took workers 3 months to clear the 30-acre-sized swath of debris behind the bridge. The total death toll from the flood was 2,208 people, which was the largest loss of civilian life in American history at the time. The flood destroyed over 1,600 homes, including 4 square miles of downtown Johnstown, and caused about $500 million worth of property damage in modern value. Relief and donations poured in from many sources, including Clara Barton, the founder and president of the American Red Cross, who stayed in the town for more than 5 months. About 7,000 workers assisted in the relief effort as well. The South Fork Fishing and Hunting Club was never held legally responsible for the flood, as their defense argued that the event was an unforeseeable natural disaster. However, this prompted a change in the American legal system, where state courts started allowing non-negligent defendants to be charged for damage caused by the unnatural or improper use of land. Some of the club members contributed to the relief effort, with Andrew Carnegie building the town a new library. However, in 2016, a hydraulic analysis placed the blame squarely at the feet of the club members, revealing that the changes they made severely hurt the ability of the dam to withstand major storms. An eternal flame still burns at Point Park in Johnstown in memory of the flood victims.